Hello everyone. Goedemiddag, julle mense. Hi everyone. Hello love lovers. Wow, this one is a highly requested Synastry analysis. And between Nicki and Cardi B, today I'm going to try not to use quite a lot, right? I'd be listening back to the recording whilst editing, and I'll be like, damn, I do say quite a lot. But it's just a way of speaking. It is again, I said, So, Nicki Minaj, born 8 of December 1982 in Trinidad, and Cardi B, born on the 11th of October 1992 in Manhattan, New York. So they are 10 years apart in terms of age. Now, 10 years is not a long period between people. As we grow older, we get to realize that actually the age gap closes in terms of experiences, also in terms of just mental maturity. When you were younger, you saw your sisters, your brothers, and you thought, oh my gosh, they're like 30 years old, 40 years old, 28 years old, or they so old. And then you became in the same age level, and then you realize that, oh my gosh, actually 28 is not old, 35 is not old, 45 is not old, 50 years is not actually old. Do you know why? Because this is how I think, this is how I view life in general. Maybe it can also help a lot of people change their perspective when it comes to age, right? As we grow older, we get to realize that we still have a whole lot of our childhood within us. Your behavior is mostly as you were when you were a child, but now you've learned how to adapt. That's what's happened. You've learned how to adapt in the social gatherings. But I bet you that 98% of people, of adults like us, right? We call ourselves elder adults, but 98% of us, when we get to go to social gatherings, we still feel nervous. The same way we felt when we were younger, right? Because when we were younger, we thought, oh my gosh, these people are so big, they're so old, I'm just a small kid. So you got to be like, oh, I'm a kid, I should be respectful, I should withhold my voice. But as people grow older, they still have the same many years, but now they have had experiences that make them be courageous, like to know that, okay, there are thousands of people here, but I need to do this, so I'm just going to swallow my anxiety or my pride or whatever, right, and just show up because I have to show up. I bet you that even presidents, they still feel nervous before they give a speech. Even, I don't know who else, like even queens and kings, they still feel nervous before they give a speech, because these are the things that actually stay with us for many, many years, but we get to manage them better. So I think most of the time when people say, oh man, you need to grow up, they just want to say to you, maybe you just need to adapt better to the social gatherings or the social expectations. But they themselves, deep down, they still feel all these emotions they try to control in others, or they try for others to control, right? So it's all like that. Why do we want to control these emotions and these behaviors, right? It all goes back to order, just to have a societal order whereby a lot of people can live together, in not, there's no perfect harmony, but whereby, your actions do not go to the point that they cross somebody else's rights or steal their rights or upset them, right? So that's what a lot of people try to accomplish by dictating on how people should behave, how people should express themselves, what topics people should express themselves on. It's all about trying to maintain the societal order. Now, when it comes to these ladies, Nicki has been told many times by a lot of people, a lot of social media, a lot of media, like the main media itself, to grow up, to do many things, to basically control her emotions, her behavior. But in controlling that emotions or those emotions of behavior, she's been told not to respond, to be silent, right? So that's been the thing. And then some people who understand the need to respond or the necessary mechanism in responding, they then say, okay, go to the booth, just write it in your rap music, respond, through your songs, put it in art, do like that. So, okay. And then when it comes to Cardi B, a lot of times she is treated with sympathy. Like a lot of people will say, oh my gosh, she's just a Bronx girl, a New York girl, she's younger. They use the age again, she's younger. I remember 10 years old. 10 years is not a big gap, because you can be best friends with people who are 10 years older than you. The more, like when you are 40 years old, you can be best friends with somebody who is 50 years old. You can even date somebody who is 50 years old. As we grow older, the age part, it really disappears. It stops being a matter. It stops just defining anything, really. All right, so, and this is one of those things that I just laugh at when I look at the age gaps, or when I hear people talk about the age part in terms of their beef. Now, when you guys asked for this Synastry, I had said I don't want to do it because of the energy around it. And we must remember that on the 28th and 29th, for those who follow astrology deeply, because it's a religion, so for those who follow astrology deeply, you guys, you do know that the 28th and the 29th, it was a harvesting time. The planets were aligned in a way that it was a harvesting time. When we talk about harvesting, we're talking about the energy harvesting, but we're also talking about harvesting, your deeds, your actions, what you do, what you've done, you repeat. These are the days of, getting what you've actually planted, right? And obviously, when we talk about it energetically, it's also an energy thing. Now, I don't know when exactly this beef started, but it would have been closer to the harvesting time. That's what I'm sure about, and this is why I didn't want to jump in and talk about it immediately, because that was the period of energy harvesting. Now, for those who follow astrology religiously like I do, you do know that also around the 6th, also around the 8th and the 9th, it's going to be another harvesting period. And at this time, we could expect another huge destruction, or another huge story that takes everybody's energies and takes everybody's attention, And if it's not literally on these days, it's going to be a few days after. And because excuse me, because that's how things are. My voice is starting already, you guys, my voice. And yesterday it was even deeper, so today it's getting better. So this is why I just take so many days not making videos nowadays, because my voice just says, you know what, girl, we are just wanting to shut up. So now back to Nicki and Cardi. I do understand why both ladies want to defend themselves publicly. I understand it from their chart point of view, but I also understand it from a human point of view. Now, if you look at it from a human point of view or a business point of view, because these are businesses, they are brands, they are not just humans, they are brands, meaning that them being alive is money. They make money not only for themselves but for other people as well. So they are brands, they are the business. So any business that does not respond when there are accusations against it, usually the market is going to assume that the negative things that are being said, the accusations that are being talked about, are true. So every single business has, or it doesn't have the obligation to respond, but to keep the consumers calm and to keep the consumers reassured, they have to respond, to correct the information, to say, hey, this is not right, this is not okay. Because if they don't, then the market, the consumers, the clients will be like, oh my gosh, my business that I support does A and B and C and D. I'm not going to support it anymore. And so it affects the pockets of these ladies, Nicki and Cardi. So this is why I don't mind them responding to negative things that are being said, or accusations or things that are being said about them, because they are the business. I'm not a big YouTuber, but I have had quite a share this year of being accused of using AI to get my predictions, of just people having a difficult time to accept that there's one person who can practice astrology in the way that it's supposed to do, like make predictions on a daily basis, right? So I received a lot of comments, lots of emails, direct emails accusing me of using AI. So I had to respond. And before that, I was not even making a lot of predictions. And then after I received that, those accusations, they actually motivated me to make predictions every single day, to prove to my clients, because in my mind I'm thinking about my clients, my consumers. Because if you guys, you get to be told that I use AI, you're gonna think like, oh my gosh, why should I consult with her? She's just gonna use the Googler. Then why bother, right? So, and then I was like, no, actually I need to respond, and in a way that I show my work, I respond in my work, so that they can see that I can do it every single day. No pressure, no fear, I can literally do it every single day, every time. If you can drop by at my house and say, what's going to happen tomorrow, I will tell you, because I'm comfortable in that, right? So it is necessary for people to respond, and we must allow people to respond to accusations and things, because it affects their brand or their business or whatever hustle that they're trying to do. So that's my human fan base opinion regarding to this. So now let's see what the stars are saying. So now I must remind everyone that Cardi B is currently expecting her baby, and because I just love pregnancies, I love to support making the human being. I love motherhood, I love fertility, and I do not want to be bringing up quite a lot of predictions that may be, getting to her ear and upsetting her. So I'm just going to keep things as light as possible and as YouTube focused as possible. So what you're going to get today is a watered down analysis, literally watered down, because in my head I am thinking of her current situation. Being pregnant, you don't want to be stressed out. You just don't. And so we have to respect that. Making a human being is not an easy job. So, thinking about this, one thing that I'm going to say here, which is visible in their synastry, is that this could go on for a long time. This feud that they have could go on for a very long time. And in going on for a very long time, they must be aware that it may end up in the court system. Like down the line, there could be a case. I already know that there was a link to Cardi's case. I don't know, like people talking about Nicki financing. I don't know, I can't remember the story, but there was a link of Nicki to Cardi's case, or to the girl Cardi was. Oh la la, I don't remember the story in any case. So yeah, there is definitely a legal ending here whereby Nicki's money is going to be impacted, and whereby some of Cardi's properties would be impacted. So if they continue and continue and continue forever, it would end up in costing them, and it would just not be worth it, because there's a high indication of a legal case here that would turn Cardi B's life around. So, they just need to be very careful about that. You just draw the line. But I also do see that there are a whole lot of secrets of Cardi that Nicki has, and these are damning secrets. These are secrets that are life-changing. So that's visible in their chart. I do also see why they also bickering quite a lot, and you might remember, my students will actually remember mostly this. They have a similar moon aspect here. Okay, they do have the opposition of moon. It's obviously it's giving the fan against fan. Fan bases a support system against another support system. Okay, we see it play out loud, but there's also this aspect that is causing a whole lot of bickering between them. And what I also do see, if you look closely, Nicki's Mars, which is on her ascendant, by the way, on her Capricorn ascendant, because remember, I'm using sidereal, always using sidereal to make predictions. It is conjunct with Cardi's Saturn. That means Cardi's Saturn is overlaying on Nicki's ascendant. What is Saturn? What is Saturn? That's profession, right? That means through, I mean, in term, if we keeping in the context, obviously, Cardi's profession has, stirred something in Nicki and keeps stirring something in Nicki, because that's Mars and Saturn bickering, but happening on her body physically, the ascendant. So that's another thing that's causing this whole bickering and competition as well, because in Cardi's chart, it's happening in the 11th house. What is the 11th house about? It is about their circle, right? Their gains as well. This is your everybody is like just the fame, the popularity, and this is what you earn. This is what you earn when you work. So meaning that when Cardi works, Nicki's Mars comes in and cuts down the gains that she could get, or the popularity that she could get. That happens naturally because of their synastry. So anytime when Cardi works, Nicki's Mars comes in and does what Mars does. Remember, this is a phenomenal aspect that they have here and overlay, because Nicki's Mars, it is exalted on her Capricorn ascendant. Cardi's Saturn, it is on the Capricorn, owned by Capricorn. So basically both planets are feeling absolutely comfortable to challenge each other, right? So there is that. So obviously the Saturn feeling that this is my house, I feel comfortable, but you, Mars, you don't belong here, so the Mars feels insecure. The Mars feels like, oh, okay, that's what you think. I'm ready to fight. This is where I'm the strongest. I can compete and I can win and I can fight and be the last one standing, because this is where I'm comfortable, in your house. In your house, and it's so amazing, because the way I see it, I say it now, it also goes back to, that thing of people saying, oh, no, she's not even American, she's a foreigner, and Cardi is obviously the American. So that Mars is saying here, yes, I know this is your house, you own it, but I can come in and win and compete, so it is that. And remember, when we talk about Saturn, oh la la, things go on forever. Capricorn goes on forever, because this is where also the public is at. You can't get rid of the whole public, right? So it's like elongated sign, or as well, obviously Saturn as well, right? So there's that. And now, when it comes to Cardi's career, this is again another thing that, after she's had her baby girl, why am I saying baby girl? I didn't even look at the chart, so I don't know why that came out. Okay, I would have to look at that. Like, no, I didn't make an analysis. This just came out of my mind. Out of my mouth. So I don't have any astrology thing, why I said baby girl. That just came out of my mouth. So and I don't actually want to know. I don't want to know from the astrology what gender of a baby she's having. I don't want to know. I'm not going to look at it actually. I would like her to have just a peaceful pregnancy. What else I wanted to talk about that can be light? Oh yeah, so in terms of stature and strength, definitely Nicki's chart here is standing. It is standing, right? So Cardi's chart is strong, but not compared to Nicki's chart. Now I made an analysis of Nicki's love life, I think 2 years ago, and in that analysis, I had said that the only people that can destroy Nicki is Nicki Minaj and her husband Kenneth Petty. Those are the two people that can destroy her. And so yeah, her chart is strong, guys. Like, she's got one of the strongest charts I've ever seen in my life. Okay, not in my life, but in my career life. So yeah, there's that. In any case, what else can I say that is not alarming? Okay, so they do have an in conjunction of the Amasis, because people are fighting. We want to see what's happening with the Amasis. They have an in conjunction, so this is why I keep saying again, they're gonna have this fight or feud for some years. I didn't even look at the progression, and I'm going to do all of that after Cardi has completed this period. So, and then we will be able to discuss and learn. And remember, when we use celebrities, it is for research purposes only. So this is why I try to be careful in my words, in my in the vibe. But anyway, thanks guys, and I'll now go into the next segment. So this is the segment whereby we look at the news, astrology news, and what will be happening in terms of their headlines. As I said, that the second and the third were critical days in terms of the global movement and what will be happening with the planets, and that is still obviously continuing up to today. I am recording this on the 3rd, and it is during the day, and right now it's 2:10 during the day. So I have changed my time a bit because I have to align with my chart. So there are certain transits that I have to respect and align myself more with my sun, and then in other times I have to align more with my Saturn. So now I'm in my sun period, and so I haven't checked the headlines, but I don't like to talk about things that would have already happened, in terms of what the news and what's happened, and then I really don't like that, because it's going to seem like I'm working backwards. Now something I remember, when I made that video about the video analysis about Charlie Kirk, and then I talked about I was seeing an intimate attachment. I was actually seeing quite a lot of Venus coming up like a woman, and then when I was watching Candace, like her short, because I haven't had time to watch the full video, I saw her talking about a woman, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I saw a whole lot of a woman, but then I placed it in a diplomatic way, and then I just said, I see intimate attachment there, so I was seeing quite a lot of Venus, because in my head I was like, it can't be the wife because she's distraught, but why am I seeing a woman quite a coming up quite a lot? And remember again, that analysis doesn't exist. What I was saying is just from the planets hypothesis, from the planets that we understand. It doesn't confirm anything, but okay, today I do see a lot of anxiety, for some people, and I must warn lovers, people who are in relationships, that actually this week, I would say up until the 9th, there's quite a lot of instability in terms of relationship, particularly for those who have a big Libra in their charts. So just make sure that you get your relationships quite close, because I do see some disappointments in relationships. So, wherever your Libra lands in your chart, those people who are defined by that house where your Libra lands. Oh, I actually just realized that my mic lost its battery life. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys are gonna have a different volume, right? So because now I'm using an alternative mic, but it's not the same quality as the other one. But in any case, so wherever your Libra is landing, just make sure you nurture those relationships. Like you make sure you give attention to that. And because that's just the week for that right now. And today, the 3rd, and actually until tomorrow as well, the 4th, we could also talk about that. I do see when it comes to as I said, when it comes to Russia, these are critical times, because I did say from the 2nd as well, the 3rd, I do see them, being in a tight position. However, looking at things, I also do see it can be going out throughout the week as well, whereby there are people who could reverse their warmth around them, like people who had been opening up to them. Maybe all of a sudden now they just decide to be playing a stone, or just be unresponsive. So there's that. I also do see that when it comes to relationships as well, today and tomorrow, people should just stop testing relationships. So if you are in the testing zone, do understand that you are testing to see how things would go, but also make a decision. Like, don't just continue to test because the other partner may feel like you don't value them. All right, so that's the message for love and lovers at this time. I also do see, when it comes to Russia, definitely some unstable communication here. So as I said, some partners may just decide to be quiet, to be silent, because there's a lot of instability in their relationships at this time. So they just need to mind that, and there is, what I we must remember that Mars is still in Libra, right? And is being joined by Mercury as of today. So this is why I'm urging a whole lot of people, when it comes to relationships, to just sort things out. Yeah, sort things out. And betrayal, for sure. Lots of betrayal, dark energies. Oh, isolation. Oh, keeping on in the context of Russia, I do see some manipulations, and I do see that it could be partners, obviously, or enemies manipulating things around them, but they are also self-sabotaging. There are actions that they're doing which are causing self-sabotage. By the way, everything is alleged. Whatever I just said from the beginning until the end, everything is alleged here. This is just astrology. Oops, gotta go. We'll continue again another time. For now, thank you. I've been to ciao.